Do you have sets like this, or even like this, and you wish you could build a proper city, but you don't have the money or the pieces to spend on massive modular buildings like this or custom mocks? Then don't worry. This video is for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to take any of your sets, whether it's a city set, a Marvel set, a set from the Winter Village lineup, or even a Friends set, or any of these smaller buildings that have an open back to them, and we're going to turn it into this right here, which is a full modular building here. As you can see, it has full sides on all of the sides, and it also has a detailed back to it as well. And so if you guys remember the original set, it was only about 5 or 6 studs deep at the absolute maximum. And so I went ahead and I made this right here. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did that, and we are going to get started on that right now. Now, I just want to preface this by saying that this video here is not explicitly for this building. It is more of a generic video for any building. And so you could take this deli here from one of the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse sets. You could take any of the Winter Village sets. You could do pretty much anything you want with this information here. This is mostly just a springboard to get you started. And so what I did with this set here is pretty simple. All I really did was just take a look at the colors of the set. And so for the music store on the left here, the store was not very deep at all, but the building had a light bluish gray base to it. It had medium nougat as the main color and the gray running through the middle. And so I kind of ran with that, and I wanted to keep all of those features, and I also wanted to keep the drain pipe here and all of the front details, and I wanted to also carry them to the back as well. And the same can be said for this side of 2022's Winter Village set. Now, in order to do this for some other sets, it's pretty simple. You just kind of decide what you want to keep and what you want to expand out, and also what you want to get rid of. And so for something like this, I would say that I want to expand out the dark red, and that's definitely something that I want to keep from the original set, whereas this black pillar here, I don't know if that's something that I want to keep. If I do keep it, it would be pretty small and also to match the windows on the other side. And then I would also bring the dark red over from the other side here to try and help build this up a little bit, so it just makes a little bit more sense. And then once you have that, then you can go ahead. I prefer to design these digitally. I think that helps a lot when doing something like this, especially when you have a pretty large set like this. The Holiday Main Street set came with about 1,500 pieces, at least this one from 2022. And so your mileage may vary depending on the set that you want to modify here, because this deli right here was only about 375 pieces, and that also included a police car. So your mileage will vary, like I said, but with things like this, it is good to know that you are doing it right the first time, as opposed to just buying random pieces or just using random pieces for your collection and then realizing later down the line that you did something wrong and you have to redo it. So this is what this video is for, like I said, and what I do is I go into Studio, and the easiest thing that I found to do is to import the set into Studio, and it lays out all of the pieces for you. And then so for this set here, you can obviously get rid of the pieces that are for the tram, unless you want to take that apart and use them in your build. That is entirely up to you, but for the sake of this video, I am going to delete all of the tram pieces, and then you can go ahead and follow the instructions for the facade of the building, and then after that, you're pretty much on your own. So what do? I would suggest you go ahead and you start a new step, or preferably a different submodel. So then that way you can go ahead and pull that out and put it in a different file. So then you can go ahead and get the parts list just for that. And so then once you have the facade pretty much done, you can go ahead and start to swap out bricks. So then it is actually going to interlock with the rest of the build. As you can see on my physical build here, you can see a lot of the interlocking brick. Had I just kept the set as it was, all of the bricks would have ended at this seam here, or the one after it. And so I went in and I interlocked all of the bricks in here just to make sure that this was one solid unit, and then I could also pick these up and do whatever I needed to do with them. Now, that is the second part of this, is that once you finish the first floor here, then you want to go ahead and add a layer of tile. On these sets, typically what they do on sets like this is they just have the floor built right into the wall here, and so this is not a removable section. Obviously, it's Lego, you can do whatever you want with it, and you can remove that. However, it is going to cause a lot of trouble for yourself, and so in order to have a more seamless transition, if you want to access the interior easily, is to tile off the entire thing and leave a couple of jumpers, or you can just leave it entirely tiled off here, and then you can do what I did here, which is have plate along the back and sides here just to help lock it in so it doesn't shift around on the top of the first floor. One thing I also like to do is add interiors, and while I don't do this as often as I should, as I'm sure you guys know, I do try and add some details in there, and Studio does help me do that. You can easily hide walls and different subsections so that you can go in and get a close-up view of what exactly you're building. So if you want to get an intricate tile pattern in here, you can obviously do that, and you can easily add any other micro builds that you want to add in here, like a cash register or a painting or anything else like that. So now pretty much what you have to do is just rinse and repeat with the second floor. And if you want to have a third, you can obviously keep going from here. But instead of starting on the base plate like the normal modular buildings do, and like what I did for this video, you can go ahead and add the plate down here. I had to add these from my own collection. And then as you can see, I added a bunch of random colored plate to help lock everything together. Now, I did also go ahead and do the same thing on this one side here in order to get the wall, the continuous medium nougat along the back and side. However, on this fourth side here that goes up against the other building here, I decided to use white brick because I ran out of medium nougat. This is an excellent tip if you guys are low on pieces like I am oftentimes. It is so much easier to, and also cheaper, to go ahead and use whatever pieces you have in your collection. So then that way you can just take the white bricks, for example. That's what I had a lot of. You can even see one of them has a sticker on it. I went ahead and I added all of those white bricks in because if you place this on the build here, the base plate where each of the buildings are helps cover up all of the white bricks in there. So you have no idea that the white bricks are here, and you can also come around the other side here and it is totally invisible to the people viewing it from the outside. But on the inside, you can just view this as a wall that is painted white compared to the rest of the room. And so I think that's a really nice detail, and it helps save a lot of money if that is something that you're trying to prioritize here, is doing this with the least amount of money possible. That's what I did with this, and so I figured I would share that little tip with you guys. If the wall is not visible from the exterior, it does not need to be a specific color. You can also do that with walls on this outer side as well, but you just have to be careful of what buildings you're putting next to this, because some buildings like the Parisian Restaurant have a cutoff here, and then you can see this entire section here. And so if you want to add certain graffiti details and do that, then that's absolutely cool. That's absolutely something you can do. But in order to make it look like a cohesive building, like it has just been painted all one color and then kind of call it a day, then having the bricks hidden on the inside is definitely the way to go. Now for the roof of this set here, there was literally nothing going on with it. And so I wanted to go ahead and change that up a bit. So what I did was I added a nice little rug here, and I also added some of these potted plants. I thought that helped kind of spruce this place up a little bit. And I also added this little table. Obviously, there are no ways to get up to this top floor here. I could have added that in, but with such a small footprint here, the 16 by 16 modular buildings, I didn't think that was totally necessary. So that's pretty much it. That is how I made this building here, and then the same can be said for this one. This building here, the toy store on the right, was a little bit tricky because I wanted the two buildings to have a certain separation from each other, and also there's different depths away from the edge of the base plate. And so I did not have the space to go and add the Technic brick on this side because I needed the snot brick for the front. But I did add one on the back, and if you're not someone who uses the Technic bricks like me, then that's not something to worry about. But that is also something that you're going to have to add in to your part count in when you are buying pieces or trying to find them in your collection. You're going to need to go ahead and add the Technic bricks in. And then that is pretty much everything. As you can see, this build here, I took a little bit more seriously, I guess you could say, with the window design. So this is the original design from the set, and I went ahead and I fully copied that for the back. So I had to order all of these specialized pieces to make that happen. Whereas on this one, I could not get my hands on dark blue windows, so I just used tan. And I think that's more than sufficient. You would never know that it doesn't really match. I think the tan and medium nougat look great next to each other, and I think it works perfectly fine. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, your mileage will vary on how this goes and depending on how big you want to make each set. And so this is something that you can do. You can buy another set to add to it. Like with this deli here, you can go ahead and you can buy the Jazz Club modular and combine them together. Or if you don't want to spend that much money, you can go and buy this set here, which I'll have linked down in the description, to go to Amazon and you can buy it from there. I will earn a small commission on that if you use the link, but it does help support the channel and I would really appreciate it. And so that set combined with this one, a lot of people have made really cool customs of that, and there are some instructions on Rebrickable as well, both free ones as well as ones you pay for. And you can also modify sets like this that seem a little bit more complicated, but the principle is still the same. All you'd have to do is find a way to splice it right down the middle, and then you can go ahead and start to build up from there and also out if that's how you so choose to do it. But with that, that is everything that I wanted to talk about in today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos like this. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now. I don't know why I did that. I have to rebuild all this now.